Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Dragon Ball Super is up in the air. This is, of course, because of recent events that we're going to be talking about today. So, first of all, I want to preface this video by saying I'm going to be reading a translation of an article from Herms98 on Twitter. That's there at, the name is Todd Blinkenship. You can find these translations yourself by going there. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of speculation afterwards and breaking down what this could mean for the future of Dragon Ball. Anyways, let's get into it. So, per the translations, I'm just going to be reading this straight from his tweets. According to Bunshun Online, Dragon Ball Room head honcho Akio Iyoku has stepped down from Shueisha and established his own company, Capsule Corporation Tokyo. Supposedly, he wants Shueisha to keep Dragon Ball's manga publishing rights, but for CC Tokyo to handle Dragon Ball games, anime, etc. As you might imagine, Shueisha is reluctant to part with Dragon Ball to any extent, and negotiations are still ongoing. According to this article, anyway, Shueisha has apparently confirmed that Iyoku is stepping down, but not confirmed any of the particulars so far. Bunshun Online reached out to Toriyama and asked if he would be working with Iyoku in the future, but Toriyama said he wouldn't comment publicly, only through Shueisha. He also said that the company name, Capsule Corporation Tokyo, was Iyoku's idea and not his own. According to an anonymous Shueisha employee, Iyoku wants to bring two of his former Dragon Rook subordinates along, I guess he meant Dragon Room subordinates, along with him to his new company, the office chief representative and deputy office chief. Both are apparently big Iyoku fans. Bunshun Online has also asked Iyoku himself for an interview, but he simply said there was nothing he could talk about. And that's apparently all for now. And then of course he says there's more info behind the paywall. And he says, main takeaways from the paywall portion of the article: per anonymous Shueisha staffers, Iyoku's possessive attitude towards Dragon Ball was seen as a problem, and there was talk in June 2022 of moving him to a non-Dragon Ball related position, but essentially, he refused and got to stay with Dragon Ball. Then, in May of this year, he set up Capsule Corporation Tokyo, with a written goal of managing IP content creation and distribution for individual and group creators. A clear sign he wanted to start up his own Dragon Ball business. Again, this is per anonymous Shueisha people. More people reached out to for comment. Kazuhiko Toriyama, who told them to ask Iyoku or Shueisha instead. As we've seen, Iyoku said nothing. Meanwhile, Shueisha president Maru Horiuchi said he'd heard Iyoku was quitting, but declined to comment on Shueisha/CC Tokyo matters. As I mentioned earlier, Toriyama likewise declined to make any comment beyond the company name. Capsule Corporation Tokyo was Iyoku's idea. Toriyama himself was surprised to hear it, which I guess does mean he'd heard of the company before, says Herms. And that's about it. It also says that Iyoku and Toriyama first met 30 years ago while both working on Dragon Quest, and they have a close trust. And that's pretty much all from the article that you can see there. Anyway, so what's the point of all this? Is that Shueisha probably still won't give the rights to Iyoku, but let's break down a little bit of what Iyoku is responsible for. He's the guy that is in between Toriyama and Shueisha. He's the guy that gives Toriyama ideas and steers him, and then so him and Toriyama come up with storylines together, and then those storylines get passed off to Shueisha, pretty much. So you can see here, this is coming from Anime AJ's opinion. Again, I'm going to be presenting a couple of different opinions, and you can take it or leave it. But Anime AJ, who is a pretty big YouTuber, said, keep Iyoku as far away from Dragon Ball as possible. He's obsessed with the past. He's why Dragon Ball continues to recycle villains and forms, because it's always this guy suggesting it to Toriyama. Future Trunks, Broly, Gohan Beast. Dude drives me nuts. We're lucky Toriyama makes them somewhat interesting. And then we actually got a different opinion from Super Chronicles, who says, reminder that Toriyama wanted Piccolo to be the lead and superhero, but it was Iyoku who pushed Gohan to be the other lead. That's how Superhero became a Piccolo and Gohan movie instead of just a Piccolo movie. And yeah, so Shueisha isn't giving up the rights. Negotiations are still ongoing. If there's some loophole in the contract signed years ago, Iyoku can do this. If there isn't, it all stays with Shueisha, because there's no way Shueisha would give up Dragon Ball. Anyway, Geekdom 101 responded to Anime AJ and said this. This is true, he was doing fan service things based on popularity and market research. These are very polarizing decisions because some fans love these decisions and some don't. He was the kind of architect of ideas, and then others wrote it, like Toei, Toriyama, Toyotaro, etc. And then Geekdom went on to say, the same people who were like, OMFG, Gohan is back and Superhero, are now celebrating that the guy who literally made that happen might be gone. You really think Akio Iyoku is the sole reason Dragon Ball is stagnant? That's false. And then he said, people have no idea how this works. And he also said, if it gets out that Akio Iyoku wants to start Capsule Corp Tokyo so he can push more anime content out because Shueisha is dragging their feet, I know a lot of people are going to owe him an engraved apology. And that's something I wanted to touch on for this video. Is that, could it be possible that Iyoku was getting tired of Shueisha dragging their feet and not going with Toei and doing a Dragon Ball Super anime? It's possible. I'm not sure if it's the likely answer as to why all this stuff is now going down, but I think it's possible. So what could this mean for the future of Dragon Ball? Well, as we broke down, probably nothing. It's entirely possible that nothing comes from this, and that it's just that, well, here's the biggest thing. Iyoku quitting in May is probably what led to all this Dragon Ball Super prequel arc and Dragon Ball Super recap arc stuff. You know, it's entirely possible that the Granola arc was helped by Iyoku with the heavy lifting being, I mean, the point is, him and Toriyama meet, and then Toyotaro is involved somehow. So, it's entirely possible that after the Granola arc, and before planning started on the Dragon Ball Super Broly, no, Dragon Ball Superhero recap arc, and the prequel arc, that he probably quit, and so they needed a filler arc, I guess you could say, to put out there until they get the next arc planned. So what this essentially means is that in the future, we could be seeing better Dragon Ball ideas. We could be seeing worse Dragon Ball ideas. It literally depends on how influential Iyoku was or not. According to what I've been able to learn, he was doing a lot of the fan service stuff. So maybe if he's gone, we could go beyond the end of Z and start getting some new stuff. It really just depends. We'll have to wait and see. I'm Toon Raider. Thanks for watching the video. If you have something to say, leave a like. If you feel like it, comment. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace off.